Hi there, we're going to talk about Google Chrome efficiency features that both you and your students are going to love. So our learning target is to learn how you and your students can use Google Chrome with less mouse clicks and less time. So the first thing we're going to talk about is customizing those Chrome shortcuts. So when you open a new Chrome tab, the shortcuts that usually appear here by default are the ones that are most recently or most frequently used. But you can change those shortcuts to go to any site you want. Let's open up a new tab and see how that works. So to customize these shortcuts here, you're just going to go down to the Customize Chrome option towards the bottom right. And then over on the left of the new window, you're going to click Shortcuts. And then you're going to be sure My Shortcuts is checked on the left-hand side there. And then you can go ahead and say Done. And now, when you're back on your Shortcuts page, you can add a new shortcut by choosing the plus sign, put in the shortcut name, and a link to the site you want to make that shortcut to. And you can delete any of these shortcuts so that you can add more of your custom shortcuts by just going to the three-dot menu. I'm going to go here to this one and say Remove. And you can see that made more room for you to add more shortcuts. So that can be a nice feature. Let's go back to our slideshow and look at what else we have to talk about here. We talked about our shortcuts. Copy to highlight is a newer feature in Google Chrome. And if you're following along on the slides, there's a quick video that you can watch to see how that works. But let me just open up a new website to show you. So what copy to highlight does is it allows you to send one to a specific spot on a website so that when they click the link that you've shared, they don't have to do a whole bunch of scrolling. So say that I want to send someone to this particular picture on this website. I might just highlight the Franklin Park Zoo here, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to say copy to highlight. This way, when I paste that link, and in this case I'm just going to paste it into a new address bar, but if you paste this to an email, it'll work the same way. Now you'll notice instead of that link taking me up to the top of this website, it took me right exactly to the part that I highlighted. This is especially nice if you're sharing a specific spot of a website with a student who has a tendency to get distracted or lost, or with websites that are really long and you don't want people to have to do lots of scrolling to find what you want them to find on a website. So that is called copy to highlight. I'm sorry, copy link to highlight. Copy link to highlight. All right. Now, we could talk about Chrome extensions all day long, different Chrome extensions that help make things easier in Chrome. But the only one that I'm going to mention in this session is one called Mote. Mote allows teachers and students to quickly create audio notes in any Google tool. If we take a look here, we can see that we can use Mote in Gmail, Google Forms, Google Docs, Google Classrooms, and Google Slides. So if you're viewing this afterwards, you can go ahead and click any of those links and they will give you a demo. Clicking here in the middle is going to take you to the Chrome store where you can add Mote as an extension. You can see I have Mote up here in my toolbar already, so I've already downloaded it. But I just want to show you a couple of really neat ways you can use Mote in Google Forms and in Gmail and in Classroom. So let's just go out to a Google form here. And here is my teacher view or edit view of my Google form. And because, again, I already have Mote installed, when I am in creating a question in Google Forms, I have this option to add a Mote, which I have already done. And I'll go ahead and remove this one so you can see what that process looks like. But I'm just going to click on Mote and I'm going to read the directions. Write 2 complete sentences about this picture. Now your students have an audio note that they can use to listen to the directions. So if we go out and preview this Google form as if we're a student here, we can go down and your students can just click on the audio instructions. Write 2 complete sentences about this picture. Now, the other great thing you'll notice is students can answer using Mote. So they will just go ahead and click and they could dictate their answers. So works really nicely in Google Forms. Let's go ahead and just do that so that you can see how this looks then on the response end. That's a lot of hair. It looks messy. Okay, so let's head back over to our forms and let's go ahead and look at responses. And I'm not going to be able to just click on that response from my response tab, but if I open up a spreadsheet, I can click on those student responses and hear them right within my spreadsheet. So there you have it. So let's talk about Mote in Google Classroom. You can add a Mote to really any place in Google Classroom. So if we're on our stream here, you can add a Mote right into your classroom. Again, my Mote icon just shows up there, and I would just go ahead and record like I did in Google Forms. Here's an example of what it'll look like for the students when they come across it. They'll just press play to listen to that Mote. And again, students will have that option as well to respond in the stream using Mote. Now it works the same way within your classwork tab. I'm going to go ahead and discard that. But when you are creating an assignment, you can go ahead and use Mote to add an audio note to your instructions. If you want to change that from an assignment to maybe a question, your students would be able to answer that question using Mote as well, right within their Google Classroom assignment. So lots of neat ways to use Mote in Google Classroom. Now you can also use it in Gmail. So if you have a student who you need to email, but they maybe don't have great reading comprehension, you can go ahead and just write within the body of your email here, go ahead and add a Mote. Adding a Mote is easy. You'll notice I just clicked on that icon again to stop my Mote. And now this is how it will look when you send it to your students, and they'll just click on it to hear it. Now I'm just going to get rid of this. But that makes it really easy. Again, if your students have Mote installed, they can send you emails the same way using that. So again, remember you can use Mote in Google Slides and in Google Docs as well. So go ahead and watch those videos if you want to learn more about using Mote within those programs. Wanted to talk a little bit about just Omnibox magic, right? The Omnibox is your address bar up here at the top. And there's some cool things that you can do with this. I know lots of people already know some of these, but one that I use quite often is just this timer. So let's just open a new tab, and all you have to do if you need to set a timer is you just say, you can set it for minutes or seconds or hours. I'm just gonna write 20-second timer and press enter. And now automatically this 20-second timer is going to start. And you can leave this page and go, do whatever else you're gonna do on your computer. And that timer is just going to keep running. And then you'll hear it here in a couple seconds go off. And then you just have to go back and hit OK to end it. Now, the other thing you can do in that Omnibox is you can use it as a calculator. So rather than having to click on a calculator and bring up a separate app, if you already have your Chrome browser up, you can just write whatever math problem it is that you have right into that address bar. And it's going to answer that for you and bring up a calculator. So you can continue using this particular calculator if you want. You can check your answer, but just a real quick way to use a calculator without having to leave the Chrome browser. What else did we talk about? Oh, conversions would work the same way. So you might want to say, and you can either enter whatever you have to enter right here, right? So if we open a new tab, you can enter any of those things I just showed you down here in that search bar or up here in this search bar. And so if I want to know what 72 inches is in centimeters, I would just type that in. And it's going to give me my answer right here. Now, the other cool thing is you can change these on the fly. So you're like, oh, I didn't mean centimeters, I meant meters. How does that convert? Or maybe I didn't mean inches, maybe I meant yards. And it's also going to give you the formula down here, which is really nice. Conversions are great right within the address bar there. And then of course the weather as well. And what I like about the weather, all you have to do is type in local weather. And what I like is that it does give students a little visual up here too. So sometimes if it's sunny outside, this will be a picture of a sun. Right now it's cloudy. So it's giving me pictures of the clouds. Okay, so those are just a few things you can do within that search bar or the Omnibox. Let's talk about bookmarks next, because you can do some cool things with bookmarks. And most of the things that are really great happen when you create folders for your bookmarks, because bookmarks in and of themselves are nice shortcuts. But one of the really great things you can do if you add some bookmarks to a folder is that you can open all those bookmarks from a folder with just one click. So say students, maybe they use their Google Classroom, they use their email, and they use their calendar, and they need to open those up every single day to get their work done. They could have a folder up here called Daily Necessities or School or whatever they want to call it. And they can just right click on it and they could say open all. And in this particular case, I have 15 tabs. Hopefully you and your students don't have quite that many, but you could just say open all 15 in a new window, right? And so that's going to open everything that's in that folder in a new window by the click of a button. And you can add as many or as few bookmarks in each of those folders as you want. So let's just talk about how we'd make those bookmark folders. So obviously on the fly at any time, you can click on that little star and say add bookmark. And then if you want a new folder, you would say more, and you would just say new folder. And so now this is going to give you a new folder. Let's just call this presentation, and then just say save. And so now you have this saved to another folder, and you can add more bookmarks to this folder. Now for just general organizing your bookmark folders, it's best to go to the Bookmark Manager. You're going to do that by going to your 3-dot Chrome menu, go to Bookmarks, and then Bookmark Manager. You could also use the keyboard shortcut Control, Shift, and O to bring that up. But let's go ahead and click on that. And so now you can move, if you have just a whole bunch of random bookmarks here, you can put these into some of your folders by just clicking and dragging. So let's bring my MakerBot University up into my Daily Necessities folder. Now the other things you can do here is you can change the order that these appear. So maybe I want to move my PowerSchool and Perform down below Google Trainer. So now you'll see up in my address bar, PowerSchool and Perform moved. You can also go over again to the 3-dot menu on the right, but this time within your bookmarks window. And you can add a brand new bookmark, or here you can also add a new folder. And so this is nice for just organizing those folders, getting them in the right order up here, where students can get to what they need the quickest and open things very quickly. The other thing, so you cannot change the color of these folders, which is too bad, but what you can do is you can add emojis to the names of the folders. So if I just click here and want to rename this particular folder, now if I want to add an emoji to maybe the front of the name of this folder, I'm just going to right click and I'll choose emoji. And now maybe I want a picture of or an emoji of a calendar so that I know this is where I go every day. There we have a picture of a calendar, and we can click save. And now it's going to be more recognizable for students because they have their little emoji there. Not just for students, but for us too, right? We're going to recognize those pictures a little quicker. All right, so we talked about all of these bookmark features, but here's some screenshots to help you remember in the future. One last thing I just wanted to mention, lots of us know the keyboard shortcuts for zooming in and out when we're in our Chrome browser, but it's really helpful to tell students about this feature as well, especially if they have any vision issues or if they're in a remote learning situation and they're sharing their screen remotely with someone else. It's just going to save them a whole lot of headache if they know that using Control and the plus key will help them zoom in, and using Control and the minus key will help them zoom out of their browser. So just want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions or other Chrome efficiency features that you love, feel free to drop me a note. Take care now.